विदेश मंत्रालय की अर्जेंट एडवाइजरी भी जारी की गई है। यूक्रेन के खार्किव को तत्काल छोड़े भारतीय, गाड़ी न मिलने पर छात्रों को पैदल ही जाने को कहा है। खार्किव से तुरंत निकले भारतीय। तो विदेश मंत्रालय की अर्जेंट एडवाइजरी जारी की गई है और इसके तहत यूक्रेन के खार्किव को तत्काल छोड़े भारतीय कहा गया है। तो वहीं गाड़ी न मिलने पर छात्रों को पैदल ही जाने को कहा है। खार्किव से तुरंत निकले भारतीय। तो खार्किव से भारतीय जितना जल्दी हो सके उतना जल्दी बाहर निकल जाए और अगर आपको गाड़ी नहीं मिल रही है तो पैदल ही निकल जाइए, अपनी जान को सुरक्षित कीजिए, क्योंकि लगातार खार्किव में धमाके तेज होते जा रहे हैं, लगातार खार्किव में अटैक तेज होते जा रहे हैं। तो विदेश मंत्रालय की अर्जेंट एडवाइजरी वहां की पूरी सिचुएशन को देखते हुए निकाली गई है। तो यूक्रेन के खार्किव को तत्काल छोड़े भारतीय, गाड़ी ना मिलने पर छात्रों को पैदल ही जाने को कहा है। एक और तो खार्किव में लगातार तेज धमाके हो रहे हैं, वहां पर मिसाइल अटैक हुआ है और इसी बीच भारत सरकार की ये बेहद अहम एडवाइजरी, विदेश मंत्रालय की बेहद अहम अर्जेंट एडवाइजरी, यूक्रेन के खार्किव को तत्काल भारतीय छोड़ दें, गाड़ी ना मिलने पर छात्रों को पैदल ही जाने को कहा है। तो वहीं आपको बता दें कि जितने भी भारतीय यूक्रेन में फंसे हुए हैं उनको पोलैंड, हंगरी के जरिए बाहर निकालने की कोशिश और कवायद लगातार जारी है। भारत सरकार की ओर से कई भारतीयों को लाया भी गया है भारत। तो वहीं आपको बता दें कि अभी इसी खबर पर ज्यादा जानकारी के साथ हमारी सहयोगी और दिल्ली न्यूज एडिटर अदिति नागर हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगे कुछ ही देर में और तमाम जानकारी हमारे साथ साझा करेंगी।
Interesting developments, and we'll have a brief round of questions, but please bear with me that we can't spend too much time here. The situation is quite live. First of all, I'm happy to inform that there has been a sharp increase in the number of Indians who have left Ukraine over the recent past. We now estimate that nearly 17,000 Indian nationals have left Ukraine's borders since our advisories were issued. This, of course, includes some Indians who had not registered with the embassy earlier. So the 70,000 is a pretty high number. As you remember, Foreign Secretary mentioned a number of, I think, around 12,000 yesterday. Flights under Operation Ganga have also increased sharply. During the last 24 hours, 6 flights have landed in India, taking the total number of flights that have landed in India to 15. And the total number of Indians who have returned on these flights to 3,352. I'm also happy to share that as many as 15 flights, remember 6 flights last 24 hours, but 15 flights are scheduled over the next 24 hours. Some of these are already actually en route. 15 flights. So 15 flights over the next 24 hours, some of which, as I said, are already en route. Indian Air Force aircraft have now joined Op Ganga with the first C-17 flight from Bucharest, expected to return to Delhi or land in Delhi from Bucharest later tonight. 3 more Indian Air Force flights will be undertaken today from Budapest, Bucharest and Rzeszów in Poland. Now, moving on to the situation there in Ukraine. The cities in eastern Ukraine remain areas of concern for us, continuing violence there. There are encouraging reports that some students were able to board trains out of Kharkiv yesterday night, today morning, and we assisted in this process through the student contractors and other partners. As you know, we have been in communication with the Russian side regarding safe passage of our nationals from Kharkiv and other nearby cities. The advisory that has just been issued by our embassy a little while ago and also by us on the need for our nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately is on the basis of information received from Russia. We would urge all our nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately to the safe zones or further westwards, using any means available, including on foot, and keeping safety in mind. Now, moving on to the western side or the western borders of Ukraine, you would have seen the advisory put out today morning by our embassy in Warsaw regarding the movement across the Poland-Ukraine border. Indian nationals were advised to head to the Budomier's border point for a relatively quicker entry into Poland, avoiding the Sheni Medica border crossing that continues to be congested. I'm happy that that is actually working out quite well, and more people are leaving through that. Of course, those who do cross the border on their own can directly proceed to a reception point on the Polish side that was indicated in that advisory. We are also trying to make arrangements for shelter and food in towns near the borders, and requesting students not to go to those borders directly, as we said over the last couple of days. Now, with the arrival of Indian officials at the Embassy of India's Lviv office, this process will be strengthened, and we should be able to assist people crossing the borders. A mechanism for issuing emergency certificates to those who have lost their Indian passports has been instituted. I think this will also help many Indian students. Evacuation through Slovak Republic and Hungary border crossings also is proceeding steadily. But we urge students there also not to reach the border points, for example, at Chop directly, to avoid this long waiting times. They are requested to coordinate with our teams and follow the advisories. I'm happy to share that evacuation through Moldova is also picked up, particularly after our team at Chisinau has become operational. From Moldova, evacuees are taken to Bucharest to catch the Ob-Ganga flights. On the border areas, as well as in capital cities of Ukraine's neighbors, I mean Bucharest, Budapest, etc., our teams have made arrangements for food and accommodation for evacuees till they depart from India. With the large number of flights that are now being organized, this period will shorten, and hopefully soon they will be able to leave for India once they have crossed the border. Prime Minister envoys have reached the countries neighboring Ukraine, and you've seen the information on that, and are coordinating efforts firsthand there, and we will be sharing information on that also. I mentioned about our embassy, and I had received a few queries on this issue. The embassy was asked to set up a temporary office in Lviv, as I mentioned, to facilitate border crossings by Indian nationals. A substantial segment of our embassy team is now at Lviv for this purpose. The other segment, the location of the other segment of the embassy team is dynamic. We are exploring other options. So we are exploring options for them to actually reach eastern Ukraine, to assist the evacuation of citizens who are stuck, as you know, on the eastern Ukraine, who are stuck. Once they come out of this, let's say Kharkiv, we are seeing if our teams can reach there. It's not easy because the route is not open all the time. But as I said, the location of that segment of the embassy team, as I mentioned, is dynamic. Moving on to the humanitarian assistance that we have announced by the Prime Minister. Foreign Secretary informed you yesterday, humanitarian aid in the form of medicines, medical equipment, tents, blankets, solar lamps, other material, is being sent to Ukraine in tranches. The first tranche of basically medicines, I think about 2 tons of it, was sent yesterday, today is the second, yesterday, to Poland.